Once again, good evening and warmest greetings from William and Mary. We are so pleased that you've been able to join us for our second information session in our fall series. I'm Amanda Barth, Director of MBA Admissions here at the Raymond A. Mason School of Business. I have served in this role for over a decade, and I'm also a proud alumna. I earned my master's in education policy, planning, and leadership from the William and Mary School of Education in 2006. And I bleed green and gold. Really delighted to be here with you all this evening. Before we begin tonight's program, I'd also like you to meet our Associate Director of MBA Admissions, Josh Lustig. Josh?
Thank you, Amanda, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Josh Lustig. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at William & Mary. I've been in this role for 2 years, but I graduated from William & Mary in 2005, so it's definitely a special place to me. I love to tell students before they join our program that it's a lot more than just the William & Mary MBA, which is highly ranked, but you get that William & Mary brand on your resume. And when I say that, there's a lot of tradition, a lot of prestige, a lot of history that goes along. We were established in 1693, makes us the second oldest university in America to Harvard. We boast 3 US presidents as alumni, and we are one of 8 original public Ivy universities. So again, there's a lot that goes with William & Mary, and the network is all over the globe. So we're real proud of this, and I'm excited for you all to learn more about the program tonight, and I look forward to speaking to you all at the end of the call.
Thank you so much, Josh. Tonight's session is entitled Your Return on an Investment in the MBA from William & Mary. This Zoom conversation is a wonderful opportunity to learn all about the resources available to you here at the Mason School, and an opportunity to allow you to explore the William & Mary difference firsthand. I have the pleasure of introducing one of my favorite colleagues, Patrice Lincoln. Patrice serves as Director of Graduate Career Advising here at the Mason School. Tonight, Patrice will deliver a comprehensive overview of the Graduate Career Management Center's team, their approach to professional development, and she will also share with you the array of student services available to you as a William & Mary MBA. Patrice, we are so excited to have you on this Zoom session tonight. Take it away. The floor is yours, Patrice.
Thank you so much, Amanda and Josh. I am so delighted to be here and see you all. And I'm going to talk about one of my very favorite subjects, career management. Again, I'm Patrice Lincoln, Director of Graduate Career Advising. I've been with the college for 5 years, and I have loved every minute of it. Our team is a fairly lean team, but very, very dedicated. We have 2 houses. One is on the employment engagement side, and that is headed up by one of my co-directors, who actually is seated in the DC area along with another one of his colleagues. And then the third colleague from that team is located right here in Williamsburg, so that we span out all over the place. And so they're able to talk to the employers that you're interested in. And then the graduate career advising side is probably the side you're going to spend most of your time with. Here at William & Mary, you get assigned a dedicated advisor for your entire journey while you're here. You're definitely not a number at the Mason School of Business. We know 100% of our students on a first name basis. We love to see you in the hallways. We love to engage with you, and we definitely work with you one-on-one because everybody has a slightly different reason why they're here getting their MBAs, and we want to make sure that we meet you where you are. And so our advising team does look out for your best interests. And if we don't have you coming in to see us, the building is not that big. We're going to come find you in the building because we truly care about your journey here at Mason School of Business. On top of those 2 sides of the house, we also have an operational effective team, our admin person who holds the glue of the whole team together, and then our data person who helps us deliver all of our amazing numbers and statistics for you. On top of that, we also work really closely with our executive partner team. And if you don't know about the executive partners yet, you should look them up. We are just honored to have a wealth of executive partners in the area. So really high-level C-suite retired people, executives who are here to mentor you. And they all reside, most of them, right here in Williamsburg, and they're here to mentor you. So you're going to have a lot of interaction with those executive partners, and we work with them really closely on professional development. So they work with us on a lot of different levels, so that we do actually have 2 executive partners who are assigned to our team so that we can leverage those relationships. I want to talk a little bit more about our career advising staff. So right now there are 3 advisors, and although you will be assigned a dedicated advisor, it doesn't mean you can't come and talk to another advisor. So we have an open door policy. We thrive when students come in, and students will always say, oh, we hate to bug you. You never bug us. We'd love you to come in, and we really want to help you attain your professional development goals. So whatever those are. We actually will get the handoff from Josh and Amanda typically around mid-June. And at that time, we actually start reaching out to you, and we've developed a program called our Summer Startup Meetings. And over the summer, we try to meet with 100% of our students coming in. Recruiting season happens very fast in the fall, and we'll talk a little bit more about the recruiting events that we go to, but it happens the 3rd week of school, our first recruiting event. And so in order for us to get you career ready, we'd like to meet with you over the summer. And that meeting really is a one-on-one for us to get to know each other. We really want to know what your goals are, what your ambitions are, maybe some of the companies that you're targeting, and we really start to put a strategy together on how you can attain your goals. And so after that summer startup meeting, during the summer, you're going to be working on your resume with us. You'll work closely on that. We have some really cool tools, which I will talk about a little bit later, but one of them helps you with your resume. And when we get here in the fall, like I said, it's 3 short weeks to that first event. And I just want to talk about some of our fall events. So some of them are specific to William & Mary. We have that 3rd week of school, what's called Meet the Firms. And that is a career fair that's specific for folks that want to go into consulting or accounting. And so all of our employer partners that have consulting or accounting in their wheelhouse will come, and you'll be able to meet with a lot of them fairly early. That following week is the William & Mary Career Fair. You'll see a lot of those same folks back, but then they expand upon all sorts of different functions and industries as well. And those are really great practice. You're going to meet a lot of good employers, but that's great practice for the kickoff of our national MBA career fairs. And so there are a series of them that happen in the fall. Today happens to be day 1 of the National Black MBA Association Career Fair Expo. And this is where all of our students are meeting those Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. And we really strongly suggest that our students attend that particular event. It's the largest national career fair in the United States for MBAs specifically, and we feel so strongly about it that we work very closely with the program office, and we actually build it right into your academic schedule. So all of our MBA students today and tomorrow, they are released from their classes so that they can attend this all-important career fair. And I'll talk a little bit later about some of the companies that our students have landed from fairs like this. On top of that, we also have a Veterans Career Fair for those of you who are veterans. The National Black Career Fair is open to all. They are welcoming, but the Veterans Career Fair is closed. So that one, you either have to be active military or you have to be a veteran to attend that one. So if you are a veteran, that one is much smaller. Probably about 50 companies attend that one, but the participants are also a smaller volume as well. And then following that one is our Reaching Out MBA Career Fair. And that one is targeting the diverse population for LGBTQ. And again, that one is closed for people who identify in the LGBTQ world. So we really want to make it a safe place, and companies are looking for that particular diverse population at the ROMBA conference. And then finally, we have our Prospanica conference. That one again is open to everyone, a little bit smaller than National Black, but also a great follow-up. If you've been to National Black, a lot of those particular employers you'll see again. And the name of the game in career management is networking. So if you were to survey, a population, probably 70% would say that they obtained their current position through an acquaintance or through networking. And so we help you with a lot of those strategies in learning how to network, and just your repeat appearance in front of these companies and getting into their applicant tracking systems is super important. And so we do a lot of our work up front. We feel that career management is such an important part of your MBA journey here that we also have a career class that's credit bearing, so required for all first-year students. And this is where we talk about a lot of our professional development. So over the summer, we've worked with you on your resumes, and that first week of school, we're going to help you target your LinkedIn profile. Especially in today's environment, your online profile is super important. And so we will help you make sure you get your LinkedIn profile up to par, because that is the first place that employers are going to go to check you out. And then after that, we are talking about interview prep. So we're giving you strategies on how to talk about yourself. So if I were to ask you, tell me about yourself, a lot of people say, I've known myself my whole life. I don't need to practice that one. It throws a lot of people off, and it's probably the most common interview question that anybody will ask you. Almost every single interview will start with, tell me about yourself. And so we really practice that, and then we'll practice other very common interview questions, and then tips and strategies on how to prepare for those all-important interviews that will land you your position. That third week, we go over conference and career fair prep. And so there are definitely strategies on how to be successful at different conferences and career fairs, but those are just the first 3 classes that are required. And so everything that a job seeker would want to do, if you are not a job seeker, it is a great opportunity to work with us on your professional development. So you probably want to grow within your own company or move up at some point. And so these are all skills that will help you as well. Further on in the year, we're going to have workshops on one of my very favorite subjects, which is offer evaluation and negotiation. I have a lot of first-year students who say, it's an internship, I don't negotiate. And I like to share this story about one student who did not want to negotiate, and I said, just ask. It's just a question. You're not going to insult anyone. And so he wrote an email to his recruiter and said, I'd like to set up a time to talk to you. And her response was, if you're interested in increasing your salary, I can give you $5,000 more. And so that was the quickest $5,000 he made merely by asking. And so offer evaluation and negotiation is fun for me, and it's something that I recommend, and we can work with you on strategies about how to approach that awkward conversation. So those are just some of the workshops that we'll offer over the year. The course is a year long, but because recruiting season happens so fast in the fall, we get a lot of those workshops in right off the bat. But we are still here with you after those workshops stop. And so we expect you to come in and see us. We love company. We do a lot of check-ins with you. So one of the events that we'll offer is called Coffee and Careers, and it is a monthly event where we have little breakfast for you. We have coffee and tea, and we invite you into our suite, and we just really want to have conversations with you. And so you can talk with your classmates, you can talk with us in between classes, right before your class for that coffee fix. And so we have just a lot of events that happen like that. So just low key, there's really no purpose other than we want to see your faces, and we want to help you out and give you a little Java boost and send you on your way. But that's really how we like to stay in touch with you. Once a week, we're actually in the hallway. So we don't want you to just come into our suite. We want to be in the hallway where you are. So if you have any quick questions, you can just stop in and ask us your questions. So that's our career advising lab. And again, that's weekly. And then we also offer several different networking events. We work with our corporate relations team to make sure we have some amazing alumni who will come in and just share their experiences with you. And a lot of them are now at the point where they are hiring managers, or they are coming with positions to those networking events. But we always try to make sure that after we do the thought leadership panels, we give you plenty of time in order to network with our amazing alumni. And I just want to give a plug for all of our alumni. William & Mary has the friendliest alumni you could ever imagine. We attract a certain type of person, and I will tell you that certainly not 100%, but the majority of alumni that students reach out to will respond to them. And many of them will ask, how can I help you at my company? And that is an incredibly important part of your journey here at William & Mary. So let's talk a little bit about what we do in career advising. So what are our sessions look like? So again, we do a lot of one-on-one sessions. Sometimes students just come in because they're frustrated about not knowing what they want to do. And that's okay. We will help you try to uncover what your strengths are, what makes you happy, what it is that, you're really looking for. We do have a assessment that you will do in the summer before you come called Career Leader. And that will help us uncover some of your motivators, some of your interests, and of course, career match. Some of you will come in with a laser focus, exactly knowing what you want to do, and that's okay too. But for those of you that aren't sure, we do work with you on that, so don't worry about that. Other things that we work on is interview prep. And so we really want to get into the nitty-gritty of your stories. And so I have had some students that have come in and their stories were very off-putting, but they didn't realize that. And you don't know that until you share it with somebody else. And so we'll help you just figure out, what is it that you're trying to say and how to best say it so that, you get that best chance to land that job offer. And so mock interviews or just working through your interview prep is actually very important. We do a lot of that. And then just correspondence reviews. So we'll help you review your resume, we'll help you review your cover letter, especially if English is not your first language. Those all-important first touches are extremely important so that you know that you're saying it in a correct manner. And so we want to make sure that you have your grammar correct. We want to make sure you're not coming too off-putting. I had one student that tried humor. It came out very, very badly for him. And so we just want to make sure that we are doing the best for you and you're putting your best foot forward. I'm not saying don't use humor, because humor can come up, but it takes a very special person to be able to put humor into a cover letter or an intro. So save your humor for the in-person back and forth, and you'll do great. Other things that we work on is networking. So especially if you're not from the United States, networking here might be different than in your home country. And then some of you just don't like networking. You know, even if you were born and raised in the United States, you just don't like networking. And so we help you through those awkward moments. For some people, networking does not come easy. For some, it's just super easy and part of their natural being. And so we give you some strategies on how to break into a conversation, how to leave a conversation without it being too awkward. I wanted to share one event that we're currently doing. This is our second year of doing it. We ran the pilot last year, but it's called the Peer Mentorship Program. And this is a program that my MBA Student Advisory Board, I have a group of students who help advise and develop my programming because I want to make sure I'm relevant for what my MBAs want to do. And so we came up with a peer mentorship program. And so we just kicked it off this week. Students are very excited about it. And we go through a series of questions for both the mentors and the mentees. And then we match our first year students up with our second year students. So you can talk to them about academics. You can talk to them about their career search. And oftentimes they are so helpful in sharing what they should have done that they didn't do the previous year. And so you can actually learn from their mistakes. They can share with you what it's like to live in Williamsburg. So all sorts of things. It's a completely volunteer program. So we don't have anyone that we're forcing into this. So all of the mentors want to mentor, all of the mentees want to mentor. And so we're really super excited about this program. We only had 3 months to run it last year. And so we're excited that we have the whole year to run it this year. And then another thing that we offer is Mason Career Circles. And again, I recommend, even if you have that laser focus on what you want to do, that you attend these career circles. These are information sessions with our alumni, with our employer partners, and they're going to share some valuable insight into their companies. It gives you the chance to ask some very pointed questions to them. They're typically very small, 20 to 30 people. Sometimes they're smaller. We do lunch and learns that are, maybe 5 or 6 people with one person. So really what the visitor would like, our employer partner or our alumni. But you really learn about different industries. You learn about different functions and things that you never even thought of before might be now on your radar. So it's just a really good learning opportunity for you. And a lot of these companies are going to come with jobs in their back pockets. And so we want you to get in front of them. We want you to remember them, to have them remember you. So the next thing I want to talk about is some of our tools. So as a student here, you get access to some pretty cool tools. And one of them I alluded to before, and that was the VMOC suite. So VMOC is artificial intelligence, and it will take your resume and it will go through, give you instantaneous feedback, bullet by bullet, and give you suggestions. And so this is looking at hundreds of thousands of other resumes and best practices and giving you that instantaneous feedback. It's never meant to replace real human eyeballs. And so we definitely want to work with you on your resumes one-on-one, but this cuts down the amount of time that we spend on your bullet development. So the artificial intelligence will go through, help you formulate those. And then when I have a student that comes in and I read a bullet, I'm a big firm believer of reading everything out loud. We catch a lot of things that way. And when I read a bullet and it sounds awkward, I just ask them, did VMOC make you say that? And they said yes. And so that's why it really doesn't ever replace human eyes. If you think it sounds awkward, it probably is, but it does really help you tighten up that resume. So that's actually one of your summer assignments, and it's just a very valuable tool. That particular VMOC suite has 3 components. The next one is Aspire, which will take your LinkedIn profile and do the same thing that it did for your resume. And so it will really help you tighten that up as well. And then the third module is really for people who are struggling with their ultimate career function or industry that they want to do, and it's called Career Fit. So it allows you to go in and take a deep dive into up to 5 different career functions. And so we find those tools very valuable. So for those of you on the audience, just a quick raise of hands, has anybody ever had to do a one-way video? Yes, they are the most awkward things ever, but they are here to stay. So employers love them. It is their first pass at running you through their gauntlet. They are very awkward. And so we have a tool called Interview Stream that will help you. You can practice multiple interviews. You can see if you have any weird tics, like you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you're watching a recording of yourself. And you don't get that biofeedback, like you're talking to me and you can see me smiling. You're not getting that in the one-way interviews. And so they're really startling for the first time that you do them. And so we don't want your first time doing them actually at your interview for your company. And so we help you with that tool. We just have lots of tools that we subscribe to that will help in your job search. And so we'll talk a little bit more about those when you get here, but a whole suite of tools for you. And then one of the final things I wanted to talk about was some of the employers that our 2020 class and our 2021 class have gone to. And so I'm just going to read just a couple of the employers. It's certainly not an exhaustive list, but we have students at Google, at Amazon, at ADP, at Medallia, at T-Mobile, at Collins Aerospace. We have students at IBM, at Microsoft, at Deloitte, at Booz Allen Hamilton, at Reckitt Benckiser. We have students at Chevron. We have students at Bayer. We have students at Johnson & Johnson and Scott Madden, JP Morgan Chase, Federal New York Bank. And so this is just a little smattering of some of the companies that are just our current, most recent graduating class, 2020, and then our current class where they interned. And so with that, I am going to turn it back over to Amanda to see if we have any questions.
Thank you so very much, Patrice. I am always blown away by the host of services offered by our Graduate Career Management Center, and I'm sure you can hear the enthusiasm in Patrice's voice. A couple of things from her presentation. When you talk about a dedicated career team, I can't think of a team that spends more time helping our students through their professional development. We talk all about the transformative experience that you'll have here at the Mason School. And that transformation not only starts with you, but it starts with that great partnership with your dedicated career management advising team. So truly, they are extra special. Patrice also mentioned highly personalized. So they're dedicated, but they know you by name. Again, you are never a number here at the Mason School. They will get to know you in and outside of the classroom and in and outside of our community. And I really liked what Patrice said. They understand not only what motivates you professionally, but what makes you happy. And so it's a combination here of attaining those professional goals and the goals that will truly allow you to pursue your passion in life. So I hear you on that, Patrice. And then last, the alumni network at William & Mary. Last but most important, Patrice is absolutely right. As a William & Mary alumna, I know that we all are very supportive of all the members in our tribe family. We have a motto, one tribe, one family, and we all stick to it. So that really allows our corporate relations team and our graduate career management advisors to foster and develop those strong relationships for your benefit as an MBA student. I have benefited from the William & Mary Alumni Network firsthand, and so will you. So Patrice, those were excellent bullet points. And you know, you do so much more here. It really is an awesome community. Now, if Josh and I sound a little bit biased about our colleague Patrice, it's because we actually share a suite. So what's so great about that is that we get to see your success stories firsthand. Josh and I talk a lot about this, but one of our favorite parts of career advising here is a special ceremony that includes writing the name of your internship company or your job offer on a William and Mary branded stress ball. And then you drop the ball in a bucket, you ring a gong, a bell chimes, and the whole career team is rallied around you, celebrating your success. So we call it the ball drop, but we are so proud of those moments here. And it really does say something about the community, that the people that welcomed you are the ones that get to celebrate with you alongside your greatest champions. And that is our Graduate Career Management Center advising team. They always have your back. So just a special part for me. And I know Josh and I always race out of the office when that happens. As promised, we certainly want to hear from you this evening, and I see some great candidates. Some of our candidates that waited a season due to COVID are on the call. So John, Fiona, Surya, I see you all on the line, Larissa and Caitlin and Pradeep. I know you're all working so hard on your applications. So just a little shout out to all of you for your commitment to William and Mary and for joining us again this evening. But let's take some time. Please feel welcome to raise your hand and we can ask you to unmute yourselves if you'd like to ask a question live. And of course, you're welcome to use the chat feature on the right-hand side. Josh and I will moderate to help Patrice along with the Q&A. But at this time, please feel welcome to offer a hand raise, unmute yourself, and we can all engage together. We'll keep an eye on some of the questions that are asked. I do know that there was a question right at the beginning today, Patrice, but we always get this as well at admissions. What advice would you have for candidates about their preparation the summer before they enroll, right before that summer startup, to be truly ready for the professional development portion of their MBA experience?
That is a great question. Yes, we get asked that question quite often. What can we do to prepare? And so really do that deep dive into what is it that's going to spark you? What is it that's going to make you happy? And why are you getting your MBA? So do some soul searching into what are you hoping for your outcomes in MBA? So not for everybody is it money. Money is just part of the story. So for other people, it is what is the mission of the company? Or what is it that I'm doing every day? And so really thinking about, for you personally, what is it that is going to motivate you so that you're able to articulate that. Also, if you're interested in going into consulting or business analytics or anything like that, case interview prep is something that is very prevalent in those industries. And so learning a little bit before you get here and get into the rush of learning all of your academics and, you know, trying to get ready for recruiting season. If you have some spare time over the summer, just practicing case study prep. We have books that we recommend, we have software packages that we can recommend, but just really overall practicing that case interview prep. We'll actually run workshops on that over the summer that are optional that you can attend just to kind of give you a kickoff onto case interview prep. And then really just brushing up on your methodology skills. So remembering what financial statements are, you know, so that when you're having a conversation with a company, you can talk about them. And so learning, you know, what it is to be back in school and job seeking. So for a lot of you, you have not been in this realm for many years. And so just remembering what it's like to be studious, and do that practicing. I think the biggest thing that you can do over the summer though is networking. And so if you can start networking with our alumni here at William & Mary, as well as your undergrad, get into that mode of networking, identify companies that are interesting to you, find people that work there that have some commonality with you. A William & Mary alum is a perfect commonality, and then reach out to them before recruiting season starts. So once recruiting season starts, they get inundated with a lot of requests. And so if you're one of the early ones, you can start making those relationships. I also wanted to share that a lot of our 2022 internships, so the ones that are going to happen in 2021, so our 2022 class, they start opening up in the summer. And so especially in our tech companies. So if you're interested in going into tech, we want to make sure you don't miss those application deadlines. Microsoft will open, Google will open, Amazon will open. Networking with these companies is very important. And then another thing that you might want to look into is there are an awful lot of pre-MBA programs that happen from different companies, and just researching some of the companies you're interested in and see if they have a pre-MBA program. This way you're going to get a first look at some of those companies that you might be interested in. And some of these programs are 2 days long, some of them are a week long, but they're short programs. So they're not very long, but they're very beneficial for you to attend because that networking within that company starts right there. So I think that's a great question. Those are some key tips that I can share with you. So thank you for asking.
It was good. Thank you, Patrice. Looks like we have a question from Carter. And Carter, thanks for joining us tonight. Carter's looking to transition from the healthcare field. He's a physical therapist to the business field. And how does your program help students with less business education not feel behind from the start of the program?
Yep, and that's a great question. We have people here who are teachers. We have opera singers. We have people with, who definitely don't have that business background. But think about, what are your transferable skills? And so you're going to have transferable skills in terms of client management. And so that, working with PT, you're working with very grumpy people all the time who are in pain. And so being able to relay those stories about how you were working, in that typical environment and what your strategies were, and making sure that you're translating those transferable skills. You probably have very good communication skills. Different items like that. We also recommend that you are going to have a summary on your resume that talks about your skills that you have and that you're actually looking to pivot. So you're just putting that out there, you're stating it. And a lot of times we find that if you truly want to get out 100% out of the healthcare field, that's fine. But oftentimes there are business MBA roles within the healthcare field. Centera has an amazing fellowship program, and they're looking for people that have that healthcare background. And again, if you want to move out of that, other companies also are looking for people that don't fit that mold. JP Morgan Chase will come and recruit here, and the recruiter will tell us, we're looking for people that have diverse backgrounds. And so that's what they're looking for. And so you'll actually be somebody of interest to a lot of these companies. And one of the things I didn't talk about when I talked about the recruiting was the leadership development programs. And so those are a very important part of MBA. And so if you can get into one of those leadership development programs, you're on fast track to be executive leadership in multiple companies. So many of those companies that I talked about where our students are going, they're all there on leadership development programs. JP Morgan Chase has a fabulous leadership development program. Just picking them because they just had their William and Mary Career Day yesterday here, very well attended. And we have a lot of students that are going to go there. But after 2 years in their rotational program, you are set up to be a vice president in that community. And it is, not just people that are coming from the business world. We have somebody that's coming from a swimming school who is now on track to be a VP in 2 years. And so we can definitely help you with your pivot. Again, very individual. So that's why we like to get to know you individually, because there is no one size fits all for every student who comes.
Absolutely. Patrice, we have some great questions remaining, so I'll let you take just a moment of a breather. But when Patrice talks about JP Morgan, we have seen those success stories. She mentioned some of the full-time hires, and we are also impressed with some of the internships that have been offered right out of the gate. Some of our candidates have secured their summer internships right at the beginning of orientation this season through JP Morgan Chase. So really excited about those success stories, among many others. Patrice and her team also do an incredible job of working with our talented global MBAs here at William & Mary. And for those of you who aren't as familiar with the diversity within our cohort, we are typically 40% international from approximately 20 different countries between the first and second year class. And Patrice and her team do a phenomenal job of really understanding what the job search looks like for a global MBA student. In fact, they spend an incredible amount of time coaching and helping those students make the transition. Patrice, what advice would you have to help an international student really stand out for job opportunities in North America? And how do you help them to also race against some of the clocks like the OPT or CPT counters?
That is a really good question. And so, yes, it is difficult for our global population to gain, success here unless you're willing to put in that time and energy. So you really have to get yourself polished. You have to stand out amongst all of the US candidates. So you really have to let them know why you are the best fit for that. I will share with you the list that I was reading about the companies where our students are going. T-Mobile, Amazon, Google, Capital One, FedEx. Those are all companies where our international students have landed in very good roles. And how they got there was persistence. They put the time in, they did the networking. And again, if you're not comfortable with that networking, we'll work with you on that. But you have to be willing to put yourself out there, put the time in. And we have one of my favorite global students who landed at Capital One, will be happy to come back and talk about his journey. And he talked about not being prepared for case interview prep in year one, but he didn't let it get him down. And so having that persistence, having that just understanding what you need to work on and putting the time in and working on it. So having, something that will, make a hiring manager step up and take notice of you. So recruiters are all trained to tell our global students that they do not sponsor. That is absolutely not true. And so your way to get in is through that hidden job market. So by networking and talking to hiring managers and making yourself endearing to them so that they have to have you. And that is just some of the strategies that we work with for our global students. So success is definitely attainable for our global population.
Thank you so very much, Patrice. The really helpful insight, and our global students have been very, very successful over the years, thanks in part to that dedication from the Graduate Career Management Center and because of their hard work and tremendous focus in the program. We have questions from Abhishek and Larissa. We'll merge them, but talking essentially about the different types of companies and industries that hire. One was about in the insurance industry and what insurance companies come to campus. And I know during my time, partners like Nationwide and Elephant Insurance and MetLife have all hired from William & Mary. And Larissa's asking a little bit about the sports industry. I'll let Patrice speak to that a little more fully, but what I would also add is that we really train and prepare our MBA candidates for an array of functional capabilities. So you might go and work within a particular company or a particular sector, but it's really that functional expertise that you bring to the table. So when we talk about Gustavo landing an opportunity at Capital One, he had a very solid tech background coming in from Brazil into the program. And when you think Capital One, you think corporate finance, but yet Gus was very, very much in the technical side, in more of a fintech and big data role. But Patrice, just about the variety of companies and that, this is a program where that diversity is pretty strong. We don't just have 2 or 3 corporate employers here.
That's absolutely right. So we have our students will go off in 2s or 3s or 1s. And so, sometimes every year we will have one company for each student who is here. And so the variety of companies is very vast. And in terms of insurance, yes, all the ones that Amanda named, the USAA, on top of that, Allianz. So we have some big insurance names who will come and recruit. And if they don't come and recruit here, then you're finding them at the national conferences. And if you don't find them at the national conferences, you're finding alumni to help open up doors for you. And so we don't leave any stone unturned. We help you make those connections. We teach you how to make your own connections so that you're comfortable with it. And really working on that alumni network is super, super important. On top of that, we have consumer packaged goods, we have tech companies, we have consulting, we have healthcare companies. And so I would say we have a wide variety of companies. We do have a lot of banking companies, but like Amanda said, banking is not just finance. We have actually very few finance students that go to the banks. Banks are really interested in new technology, how to talk to their new consumers, their new commercial side, and they need people like you in order to help with their strategies. And so that's why they have a lot of these really amazing roles. So when you're talking about Capital One, you're talking about going into either marketing or going into strategy or going into, you can go into finance there, but business analytics, how are you helping those companies develop their next generation of how their company operates? And so you're learning all those skills in your MBA. I have a lot of students that will go into their first year, and when they come out of their internship, they're saying, wow, I never thought I would use everything I learned in my first year, but you're really being hired as consultants. And so those companies want you to produce, they want you to be creative. And so I might have gotten a little off topic on that answer, but did that answer the question?
Yeah, and Patrice, we have a great question from John McAllister. What does career support look like post-grad? Asking for a few years after working in a field beyond, earning his MBA. Can you help set up connections with alumni by industry and place? So,
absolutely. Yes, so you are a lifetime subscriber when you come and get your MBA. So we don't lose you. In fact, when you graduate, we don't even consider you graduates until the fall of the year that you graduate. So if you're still seeking because you're looking for that special role, we're working with you all summer. But for our alumni, when you come back, we are here to help you. So I'm working with alumni who have been out 10 years, helping them pull their resume together and introducing them to people from my network that I have from being here for 5 years, people from Amanda and Josh's network. And so we're able to hook you up from faculty members. A lot of our faculty members are willing to help you out, and our executive partners. Their networks are vast and broad. And so if there's a particular area that you want to go into. For instance, we have a senior level IBM executive who is one of our favorite executive partners, that if you have anything IBM, we just shoot you over to Mr. Shagru and he will connect you with anybody within that company. He's still very, very involved with anything IBM. So we have lots of ways to connect you with companies post-graduation.
Excellent question. Excellent question. And Patrice is right. That staying power is also really, really important. Our teams are dedicated to being here, and those relationships really do endure when you have a staff that has been in place so long. Caitlin has one more question, I think, to round us out this evening, and it's a great one. And I know Patrice was just alluding to this with our relationship with Ed Shagru. Patrice and I can help you with this, but are students placed with executive partners based on their career interest? And I'm happy to help you, but go ahead, Patrice, and talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so you are given a lot of thought when we put you into learning teams and place you with an executive partner. The teams are typically 4 to 5 students, depending on the size of the class and the size of the coaches class that we have. And in that class of 4 to 5 students, you will have 2 different executive partners. So you'll be assigned to one of them, but you'll have the other one as a co-coach. So you'll get to know 2 of the executive partners really well. And Amanda and the program office put a lot of time and effort into taking a look at the diversity of each team. And so it's not necessarily assigning you with Mr. IBM if you want to go into IBM. It's really, what is your skill level? What are you going to bring to the team? So Amanda, if you want to add a little bit more to that.
Yes, absolutely. And Patrice is right. We do spend a lot of time matching you, and you're probably figuring it out now. How do they match us? Well, we get to know you through your process. And that's one of the aspects of this that Josh and I really appreciate the most, is that we get to know you as a candidate in the admissions process. And that helps us to round out those learning teams and also to properly work with the executive partner program to assign great coaches. And just one other aspect to that is that you do have access to all of the executive partners in the portfolio. So you might work very well within your learning team, and your 2 coaches might be the ones helping you on your immediate deliverables in the professional principal class or some of the other classes that you'll take. But then that network is open for everyone, so that you might end up actually finding your best fit or your best mentor in another executive partner. And that's okay. We encourage you to factor in time and to build those relationships with all of our EPs. Again, it's a really unique part of the William and Mary difference here. Thank you, Patrice. I'd like to ask Patrice just one more question, and hopefully this will be a really easy answer. But Patrice, to round us out this evening with the final question, what do you enjoy most being a part of the Raymond A. Mason School of Business family? What do you enjoy most about the work that you do?
For sure, our students. It has been really hard not having students in the building. So I am all summer. So I'm so glad students are back in person. I thrive on just that student interaction, getting to know you, and really coaching you to be successful. So my favorite part of what I did in my previous job was mentoring staff. And so coming down here and mentoring MBA students is a dream job for me. So for sure, by far, students is my favorite part.
I knew she was going to say that. We hear her say that all the time in the shared suite, but she means it. And the dedication that you'll have from Patrice and the opportunity to get to know her is really incredible. And again, this is all part of the William and Mary difference. Josh, any parting words that you'd like to add about the value of your investment here at William and Mary before I help to sign us off and thank Patrice again?
Sure. I just want to say, I know I kind of alluded to it in my introduction, but it really is a tight-knit, close community here at William & Mary. And Patrice mentioned my former employer, Johnson & Johnson, in her talk, which is a great company, but it's that William & Mary community, that closeness that pulled me back to work here full time. And I see it every day with the students, with the professors, staff, everyone on the call today. It just really is very tight knit, and we take care of each other. So it's a special place. And again, just know also we're here for you every step of the way. I know Amanda or I have dealt with pretty much everyone on the call so far. But again, if you have any questions at all, please never hesitate to contact us.
Very good. Thank you so much, Josh. Well, it is my pleasure to again thank everyone for participating in our fall series. We have several more sessions coming up throughout the fall, and we hope that you'll join us for each and every one of them. We've really tried to tailor each session to offer a live engagement with the real people that you will meet and connect with and learn with every day here at the Raymond A. Mason School. I am surprised that we all spent an hour together this evening, but delighted by your full engagement, for your excellent questions. And Patrice, you are such a dear colleague. You make our job very easy, and you really help us to fulfill on the promises that we make to all of our incoming candidates. So on behalf of your admissions partners, thank you so very much for your precious time this evening. Keep up all the great work with our MBAs, and go Tribe.
Go Tribe. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure, and I can't wait to see you all here next fall.
Thank you, everyone. Please remain safe and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you for the next session.